I have Friday night at 6:02. So even though Facebook tells me that this is an unscheduled Friday Night Live, I'm not sure I'm believing them. Hey everyone, Debbie Hatch here for the Friday Night Live. Tonight I'm going to talk about a topic that I think is applicable to everybody. So many times I talk specifically to federal employees, but tonight it is going to be information that anybody can use. And I wanted to talk about this because April is Financial Literacy Month. So lots of good information that's coming out from a whole lot of different sources about how to be smarter with our money for the month of April, and I want to participate in that as well. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is when reward credit cards are a good idea and when they maybe are not such a good idea. Okay, so first of all, there are some financial specialists who will say, like, nobody should have credit cards. We should be paying for everything with cash. And sure, there is some good intent with that. If you can pay cash for everything and not charge, good for you. That's awesome. Some people don't believe that we need a credit rating, that we should be paying everything for cash, so who cares what your credit rating is? But for many of the rest of us, establishing a good credit rating is something that we strive to do because we're going to be taking out a loan to buy a home, or we do want to get a credit card because of the convenience of it, or things like that. And if you have a credit card and you're paying off that balance every single month, me personally, I don't consider that to be a bad thing. But that's some of the stuff that I want to talk about tonight. Hey Stacy, I get to catch you live. Usually I'm seeing your messages as soon as I hop off Facebook. Welcome. Okay, so definitely they can be convenient. When I'm talking about reward credit cards, here's what I'm talking about. These are the credit cards that will offer you cash back, usually 1 to 5%, depending on the card that you have. And maybe it's just like a standard set. I have one credit card that gives me 1% on all purchases. Or you might have a credit card that is giving you different categories that you choose from, and that changes every quarter. So the Chase Rewards card is like that. Every quarter, maybe this quarter they're going to give you 1% on all purchases, but you can get 5% back on PayPal purchases, or on a Wi-Fi, or your telephone, or something of that nature. In addition to those cashback cards, then we may have travel reward cards that are going to offer you an opportunity to establish points so that you can get free hotel stays, or free flights, or discounted flights, or things like that. Hey Sheila, thank you. So those are the travel ones, right? Or maybe you get a discount on your rental car or whatever. Cashback, travel rewards, or sometimes if you get a store purchase card, then you get discounts on things at that store, or you establish points, and then you can use those points to go into the store and essentially trade those points in for things that you might want to buy. So one of the things, and I have some notes tonight because I wanted to remember to talk about all this stuff. I had so many thoughts running through my head. I didn't want to forget anything. One of the things I would say is know yourself, right? Know yourself. Getting a credit card, whether that has a reward attached to it or it doesn't, if you know that that's going to cause you to go out and buy a bunch of stuff that you can't afford, don't do it. That does go with these reward cards too, and sometimes it can be very easy to be enticed into doing something. Okay, so if you have known me for more than 2 minutes, I like my coffee. I travel a lot. That means that I have a Starbucks app, right? I don't have their credit card, but I do have the Starbucks app. And similar to the credit card, they're always sending me things, like every day it seems. If you come in and you buy this much stuff, we're going to give you this many extra points. And you buy that much stuff, we're going to give you this many extra points. Or if you come in over the weekend, you're going to get this many extra points. And it's hard to avoid that sometimes, because you see that and you go like, oh my gosh, I'm getting these points and this is going to get me free coffee. It's going to get me free stuff in the store. I've got to go and spend this money. Buy the stuff that you would normally be buying, but try not to. I know it's hard. Try not to. get a bunch of stuff that you don't need simply so that you can establish those points, so you can establish that store credit, so I can get a free cup of coffee. Because if I buy all this stuff to get a free cup of coffee, it might have been cheaper for me to just buy a cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? Brent Hatch, I see you on here. I'm not talking to you about my Starbucks. I'm not doing it. So that's what I mean when I say, when is it a good idea? When is it a bad idea? If I have, so I have a cashback card, right? As I'm paying my monthly bills, I'm paying for my Wi-Fi, I'm paying for my cell phone, I'm paying for my whatever. Yes, it is nice to have that cash back because I have to pay for those things anyway. So why wouldn't I take advantage of also amassing some cash back as I'm paying for those things that I would be paying for anyways? But I don't want to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff just so that I can build up some points on my card. Let me know if that makes sense. Sheila, I know you said it's a great topic, so I would love your feedback on it too. Like, what do you think about that? I also see a mistake that we make in thinking that the points that we get, that the cash back that we get, that the store credit that we get is free. This is kind of like getting an income tax refund, right? I see people doing this every year, not calling you out, not doing it, but the money that you get back from the Internal Revenue Service when you file your income tax is not free money. That is money that you paid in that you don't owe on taxes. And so it would be better for you to have that money in your monthly budget as you're going through the year, paying your bills. And if you got that money in your paycheck, you would use it for that reason. You would pay your bills, you would save for your retirement, you would do all of the responsible things that you do with your paycheck. But because it's a lump sum of money that's coming to you that maybe you weren't planning on getting back, because it's a bunch of money that you can go into Cabela's, Brent Hatch, and now buy stuff that you might not otherwise buy, it's not really a good deal. It's not really a good deal, right? Now you're wasting, you're using that money, whereas it could have been put towards a more reasonable purchase, and reasonable is up to the person, of course, but a more logical purchase, maybe that's how we need to put it. Carolyn says it makes perfect sense. Good. And Sheila said, my rule of thumb is to not pay to carry credit card with the exception of the one that gives me points on my anniversary date of opening the card. That's a really good rule of thumb, Sheila. And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention too. If you are looking to get a credit card, reward or otherwise, okay, make sure that you know what the interest rate on that credit card is going to be long term, because a lot of times they may offer you a really good introductory rate, but that introductory rate is going to expire in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And if you're not prepared for that, now all of a sudden you're paying a lot more than you thought you were going to. And these annual fees that some of the credit cards will charge. Now, I do have one travel card, again, just the basis of my life, right? Pre-COVID, I'm on the road for 200 days a year. I stay in a lot of hotels. I buy a lot of airfare. I get a lot of rental cars. And so those travel cards can save me money on the things that I would normally be buying anyway. That particular card does have an annual fee. But when I look at how much money I'm able to save on my travel expenses, it's far, far above that annual fee. But I did the analysis. So you need to look at that and make sure that you're not paying an annual fee that is not, it's gobbling up any of the savings that you thought that you were getting. Sheila says, also try to avoid paying interest, make biweekly payments. Again, yep, great advice. Sheila, you're looking at my notes. I know you are, because I got them sitting here right here on the bottom of my screen. That too, making bi-weekly payments so that you have a lower balance when the credit card company actually looks at the assessment of the bill, and paying it in full every month is a great way to make sure that this thing that you bought today for $15 isn't eventually costing you $55 because we've had that compounding interest added on top of it. That's super important. Thanks for bringing that up, Sheila. For sure. Okay, so what do I have here? Low or no annual fee. Make sure you know what you're paying and that it does make sense for you to have that, or get a credit card that doesn't have an annual fee. Make sure that you are looking at the interest rate. If it has a sign-on bonus, make sure that you are aware when that good deal is going to expire and take care of everything that you need to prior to that. Know that it's not free, right? I mentioned that. We've already talked about that. And it's super important to know yourself. So, a lot of times in my class when I talk about financial planning, I kind of equate it back to nutrition and health, simply because we all seem to understand that maybe a little bit better. If I am trying to eat more healthy, I know myself, right? If I'm trying to eat more healthy, then when I go to the grocery store and do my weekly grocery shopping, I don't buy nacho chips. I don't buy cookies. I don't buy key lime pie, because if I have them in my refrigerator, I will eat them. So just don't bring them home. And then if I'm sitting here in the evening and I feel like I want to munch on something, I go, oh, I have to get dressed. I have to go out. I have to fight the traffic, blah, blah. I'm not going to do it, right? It adds in a little bit of time and it kind of saves me from myself. So same thing. If I'm getting this store card and I know full well that that's going to cause me to go out there and buy a bunch of stuff that I don't need, maybe that's not going to be a good idea for me, because I just can't trust myself not to get into trouble with that. If you won't pay it off every month, if you know yourself well enough to know that you won't, then maybe getting a lower interest rate card versus worrying about trying to get rewards is going to be a better way for you to go. If you're not going to be paying it off every month, you want that lower interest, definitely. Don't rack up a whole bunch of debt for points. We've already talked about that. And then pay attention to, it's really easy to lose track when you don't have, for behavioral economics, we call this the pain of paying. When you don't actually have to pull out money and look at it and hand it to somebody else to pay, but you're just slapping down your card all the time, you really don't pay attention to how much you're spending. And yeah, you see the bill when it comes in, but then again, many people are just paying off that minimum balance and they're not paying attention to the fact that that debt is increasing and increasing and increasing all the time, until it gets to the point where now it's just too overwhelming and they can't handle it. Sheila says, when I did a home improvement project, I put expenses on a credit card and then searched for promotional balance transfer offer. Awesome. Found one with no fee and no interest offered by Bank of America. Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. It boils down to taking a couple of minutes and doing your own research to figure out what card is going to provide to you the best bang for your buck, whether that is, travel rewards, stores, whatever. You got a big purchase like this home improvement project. Finding a card that you can transfer that balance onto with a 0% interest rate, even for a period of time, because best case scenario, you saved up the money you were planning to pay for this anyways. That can allow you to take a little bit longer to pay that off and not have a lot of extra interest that's added on to that. So one of the things that I did want to mention to you, and I don't get any kickback for this or anything, it's just websites that I found that are helpful if you're looking for a new credit card, include nerdwallet.com. They do a good comparison there. And another one is Bankrate, BANK, rate.com. And you can actually search for all kinds. You can search by interest rates. You can search by annual fees. You can search by rewards. You can search by anything that you want. And that will give you a really quick and easy snapshot so that you know exactly what you're looking for. Brent says active management of your cards works. For sure. Paying attention, doing your research, making sure that you get the right card that's for you, and then actively managing it, actively looking at it. Doesn't always work. I try to do a line-by-line audit of every single credit card when it comes in, the day that it comes in. I do pay off my balances every single month. But I try to just make sure, too, that the things that I'm buying are actually things that I need or really want. Because before I'm purchasing something, I'm asking myself that. Is this something I have to have? Needs and wants are different. Is it something I have to have, something I need? Or is it something that I really want? And that's okay too. Is it something that I absolutely love? Then great. I'm going to find a way to afford that. But what I don't want to do is buy all of this nitnoid stuff that is just gobbling up my budget and not providing me any kind of benefit whatsoever. Sheila says, I use an app to track expenses weekly for a snapshot of my spending. Yeah, there's so much amazing stuff online. So many apps that you can use for tracking expenditures. And a lot of them don't have a fee associated with them either for the basic ones. If you want to get extra stuff, maybe it's going to cost you a couple of dollars, but it definitely may be worth it. Thank you so much, Sheila. The other thing that I wanted to say, because it seems like not everybody realizes this, when you get a credit card that has points associated with it, those points can be devalued at any time. The company doesn't have to get permission to do that. They just have to notify you that they're doing that. And I'm bringing that up because I definitely saw that over this last year. With COVID and all of the things that were happening with the airlines, many of the travel cards devalued the points, which means now all of a sudden you need more points than you did before to be able to get a ticket through them. And a lot more of them are using blackout dates as well. So if you got this card because you're trying to plan your trip to wherever, but at the time of the year that you want to go, they have that blacked out, you made a bad choice, right? That does happen. I want you to be aware of it. So I would say, overall, if you're spending money on home improvement projects or your monthly bills or your vacation or whatever it is, reward cards can give you a little extra. But you need to make sure that you're using them responsibly. And that goes with all credit cards, but definitely with these reward cards, which kind of have a hook that might cause some people to spend more money than they normally would. I gave you the websites already. So that is my topic for Friday Night Live and kicking off April Financial Literacy Month. I will also put this out there. I haven't made a decision yet. A lot of things moving right now in my business. I'm starting to get back to some in-person classes. So I'm going to start to travel a little bit more. I'm still doing a lot of virtual classes. But I don't know if the Friday Night Live is the right place for these kind of things. So I would love some feedback from you. You can drop a comment and you can send me a message if you would prefer to do it that way. But are you busy on Fridays? Would it be better for you to catch a live on a Tuesday or a Thursday night? Do Fridays work well for you? Are you spending more time online on the weekend and you would be able to actually join a live session? I'd love your feedback. I'm kind of working through what I'm going to do with this. They are available online all the time. So if you didn't know that already and you're here live, they are posted on the Facebook page, so anybody can access them at any time. But that is my 20 minutes Friday Night Live. Hey, Corey, happy Easter to you too. Corey says happy Easter to one and all. Those of you that did join me tonight, thank you so much. I love seeing your names pop up, and I especially love it when you're interacting with me and giving me some feedback. Thank you so much for that. If you watch it later on, do hop in the comments and let me know that you caught the replay. Take care of yourself, and I will be back here next Friday. Corey, we're talking about one of yours next Friday. Corey had suggested that we talk about how to calculate the FERS supplement, and that is on tap for next Friday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. Happy Easter, Sheila. Thanks, everyone. Take care.